Very interesting indeed. I had my mark here, and I knew that was exact, right? Because I ran the 2x6 all the way across here, put the mark here, and then I ran my level across here. This is actually going downhill a little bit from here, which is good. So if any water's in here, it's going to come down and then across right over. The funny thing is, when I put the level on this one, because I've made sure I was 3/4 the same, 3/4 there. When I put my level across here and line it up to this pencil mark, it was actually almost level. If anything, it was going back this way. So if any water landed right here, it would want to go back this way and kind of puddle right here. So what does that mean? Well, that means I'm going to have to undo this screw, and I put a new pencil mark up there. I'm right at 3/4. I'm going to have to make it about maybe 5/8 or just shy, you know, a short 3/4. Tap it up almost an 1/8, and then I'll pre-drill another hole. I won't use that same one. That's the beauty of just having one screw in here. Okay, so I'm going to take that out, tap this up a little bit. I'm still, this is still angling. See, for it to be level, I'd have to raise this end up, right, centered, and that's in 2 feet. The level's 2 feet long. So in 2 feet, it's 3/16. 4 feet long, that would be 3/8 of an inch. So, and this is about 5 feet. It's actually 5 feet, the whole thing. So that's what, almost a 1/2 inch drop from this point on down to here, and that's what I want. So I can raise that up a little bit, because if anything, I want this to be at least level and maybe just slightly up. I can build this, I might build this up a little bit. See, they had their paper on here and stuff. It was a membrane. See how thick this membrane stuff is? And it was kind of pitchy and sticky around the corners and stuff. Well, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to do something different. So ultimately over here, I'm going to take this flashing out, or maybe I'm not. Actually, I don't think I do have to take it out, because see, once I raise this up a little bit, my flooring is actually going to be about 1/8 of an inch higher than this, right here. And so in theory, I'd be going back downhill that way, but underneath this flashing is over 1/8. It might be 3/16. So if anything, if I were to put my level on here down to the new flooring, I'm going to be level, or I'm still going to be slightly going uphill, and that's going to be perfect. So it won't matter if my plywood's a little bit above that. What I'll end up doing is I'm probably going to have to fill this in. See, I was planning on taking this out, or I might. I don't think I have to take it out. See, I cut all this stuff off. It was a pain to scrape it off too. You can see where I scraped it off. I had to cut it with my sheetrock knife. Boom, 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 and then scrape that. So I may have to fill this up with some Fix-All, or I don't know, something. We'll see. And so I can taper this or something. Screw this down. See, they didn't even have it screwed down all the way. They had a couple nails in it. Here's a roofing nail there, but they didn't get it down close, did they? And look at that big old gap they had. That was leaking like a sieve. So I know I'm going to be okay, because see, if I put my level across there, from there to that line right there, see the level, and I'm like right on the pencil mark, so I'm right level. See, if anything, I want it to be off, uphill. I want this to be uphill, and that's what it is over here. See, I got the level there, and I've got it on. Let's see, the pencil mark under there. You see where the level is? Look, I'd have to raise that up to there. That's level. And actually, if I were to do that, I mean, I'm not going to be level because I have to be down at the pencil mark, right in there, So I'm sloping downhill there, which is fine. Okay, I had to think about it for a minute. So this area is sloping down. So when I put my plywood on here, the plywood's going to be sloping down, and when it hits here, it's actually going to be going down this way. But it's going to be level here unless I raise this up. And then once where the plywood hits, then I want it to come down. Okay, so I know what I've got to do at this corner. This corner's fine. I don't want to lower that anymore because then this will drop down. I want my floor at least flush. I don't want it way down low there because I'm not going to mess around with this wood here. That makes sense? And on this one, I'm going to raise it up a little bit. Okay, so now I know what to do in this corner. Man, it's just, you know, spend a little bit of time. I couldn't have figured that out had I have not had this line, and I know exactly where this line needs to be because when I put the 2x6 in there, the 2x6 is not going to lie, is it? From point to point. That's what I've got to work with. Okay, so I'll raise this up, undo my screw. This is still cut nice and snug and tight. I'll be able to tap that up a little bit, pre-drill another hole, put another screw in, put that same screw in. And then once I do that, then I can attach that whole thing and call it secure. Then I'll have to come over here and figure this out. Little by little, we'll get it. This is the most important part, especially because we're tying in to existing conditions. Obviously, if they were building this from scratch, they wouldn't have to, their thought process wouldn't be this entailed. But see, now we're going with existing, but we can alter, we can modify different things, and that's what I'm going to do over there, as I explained. I am going to be really super close in there because this trim that they put on is actually going downhill that way, and so I have to have enough room to get my tile up in there. So let's take a quick look at this. Got our flashing, then the flashing can't move. Okay, it's 2 inches tall, and you see where the flashing is over here. Look, that tile is consistently about 3/8 of an inch higher than the flashing. Now why is that? Because the tile isn't 2 inches. So let's take a look at this. We got to work our ways backwards so we can figure this out, because we got to make sure when that floor goes in, I still have to fit the tile underneath that lip. Okay? You see the lip here? The tile fits under there. And that's how it's designed. This was the existing floor. And you would think there's plenty of room, but we've got to double check. So here's the tile. And see, it's almost 1 7/8. Okay, almost 1 7/8. And I looked at quite a few of the tiles. See there, 1 7/8, almost Yeah, right there is 1 7/8. Okay. Well, that's less than 2 inches, but there's this stuff. This stuff is underneath the tile before the floor. Here's the floor, and then there's some padding stuff. See that? That goes underneath the tile. And it's just little plastic doohickeys on a plastic sheeting. See there? And it's kind of, I don't know what that bottom plastic's for. It's maybe just holding it together. That was kind of like a membrane type thing. You've got this top felt. So theory had it, if water went through there, it goes through that. It runs through this all the way down. Boom, 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 out through the holes of the flashing. And anything that didn't got on the membrane, boom, 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 went underneath this whole thing, but on top of the wood, and went out. Okay, so when we measure that, I'm getting 1/2 inch. So our tile, 1 7/8 plus half is 2 3/8 of an inch from the floor. Do you follow me so far? 2 3/8. Okay, now let's go over to that column and figure this out. Okay, so follow me here. I've got this line here, and that was with the 2x6 going flat there all the way up to this point. I've got the pencil mark coming down, the pencil mark here coming down. Then I took my level right here, and I first put a level mark across there. Then I did the same thing over here. Level all the way across. Now this one I can fluctuate a little bit because I don't have this notch, do I? But yet they made a notch over here. And this was the old stair riser at the very end of the stairs, very top of the stairs. And then you can see the plywood, and then they have that black tar paper stuff, and then they had a piece of flashing. See, there's a double flashing. See the flashing that goes down, then you see a line, then there's flashing that goes up. So that's what we have. That's what we have here. Okay, 2 pieces of flashing. And I didn't take that all apart yet, and I'm glad I didn't. And initially, I had held it up there, and there was something in the stucco. There's a groove in the stucco there, and I tried to make sure I didn't break that off. And then we have this. And initially, before I took this down, I put a pencil mark up there a long time ago for this tip to be up there. Okay, and then the tile went just a little bit above that, remember? 3/8. You can kind of see where it was rubbing on here, about 3/8 higher than that, okay? But now we gotta work backwards, okay? Because no matter what, when I put my level, this was disheartening. I put my level on this trim, on that stucco mold, right there. Look at that. Not even level. Level is down there, which means that tip over there, they should have raised it up higher, but they didn't. They didn't. And so I've got to work from that corner on down. And so first off, we know that no matter what, with this flashing, I've got to be 2 3/8 because that little 1/2 inch stuff fits on top of here, then the tile, and then that tile fits up 3/8 above this. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's going to be 3/8 above this. You follow me? Tiles 1 7/8, and then the 1/2 inch little plastic stuff underneath that. That's 2 3/8. So no matter what, I've got to be 2 3/8 down from that point down to the subfloor. 2 3/8. Okay, I'll put a mark. I've got to stop the camera. I'll put a mark, and we'll see what's going on here.